Welcome back to the Arcane Parlor. In this video, I sat down with Brandon from Runehammer Games. You'd know him from ICRPG, Crown and Skull, Viking Death Squad, so many other great publishing adventures that he's done, and he's been a staple in this community for a long time, and so it was a privilege to be able to sit down with him. So in this video, we talk all about marathon gaming. We've both got experience, him a ton more than me, and so I wanted to pick his brain in hopes that we'd start to see a lot more of these marathons pop up for individual groups, not necessarily big monetized events, but that groups would get in the habit of marathon gaming themselves. So here we go. So welcome back to the Arcane Parlor. Today we've got an awesome special guest. B, thank you for coming. Well, thank you for joining me. So you've been probably the biggest inspiration on my hobby journey for sure, and I wouldn't say that just as flattery. I mean that when I say that. I found your channel way back in Drunkens and Dragons days and followed ever since, and it's impacted every one of my game sessions since.
Sweet, thanks. So, appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to talk about marathon gaming, but I figured we'll start with a little just a warm-up question here, something a little fun. You wake up in one of your own games as a commoner with all of the knowledge that you currently have. Which game would you want that to be? I'm sure some are more terrifying than others.
Definitely.
And then what would you do?
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess I would want to wake up in, recency bias is a real thing, right? So I would want to wake up in our Daggerheart game that we played some 3 weeks ago, or something like that. We played in Alfheim, which is like my world, but with Daggerheart. And so just for fun, it took on a fungal nature.
Cool.
And through the course of the events of that weekend, we really found a deep affinity for like Myconian peoples.
Yeah.
Like they live well. They have like a cool, they're not kind of creepy and like oozy and weird, a little bit like they're often portrayed. They were much more like a friendly, kind of peaceful sort of, but also resilient people in that story. And by the end of it, we were all kind of wanting to be one of them.
It's cool.
And,
it's cool. Yeah.
Get a day job in a Myconian town and just disappear.
It's cool that they're a playable, what is it, heritage ancestry in Daggerheart. That is cool. Our marathon that we just did, I was thinking if I was a player, that's what I would play. But I was running the game. We did have one person with connections there, but didn't choose it as their character option. But I love that it's there. They're funky.
Yeah,
and the art is beautiful.
That's a little separate of just how fun like fungals are in Daggerheart. That part we definitely hit the road with, like speaking with the dead and all that cool stuff. But I don't even think it was ever really intended. It wasn't like I somehow wrote all this cool material and behold my creativity. It just sort of happened. It was just organically became like an affinity. Like I said, we just kind of like learned to love them in a way and just like, are all right.
That's cool. Awesome. So I guess we'll jump into the topic for today. I've wanted to talk about this topic of marathon gaming. What even is it? Are people doing it? What's different between marathon gaming and our normal sessions? And really, I'd say my introduction to that was your first message on the Discord like 3 years ago, which was like, I'm putting together a crazy event. Only reply if you're 100% in. And like, I remember that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I need. I need like some other level of like, I love what I'm doing. I love my games and my groups, but I need this other level to feel like some kind of like deeper fulfillment in this hobby. Yeah. So I guess I'll just like kick it to you, because obviously you've done way more of these than I have and like gone down that road pretty far. So for you, what is marathon gaming? I guess we'll start there.
Well, anyone could take a guess at what it is, of just like, going for long periods. But before we go anywhere, full credit has to be given to the Order of the Amber Die, who have been doing this since the 90s. And then only recently, as part of my journey to find this, did I sort of become, luckily, unfortunately for me, become part of their ranks.
I saw the photos of that. That was so beautiful.
Yeah, which is a little bit of serendipity just from where we live, because I do live right near Adam's house, Adam Smith, who's the GM of the Amber Die. So I do live like 15 minutes from his house, which is crazy. But then also just luck of kind of finding each other at Gen Con years ago.
Okay.
And wanting to meet up and wanting to get together, and it happening, and us kind of hitting it off, and him inviting me into their kind of secretive society. So that, first of all, is about the midpoint of my marathon journey. So I was working on this idea a few years before that.
Wow.
But I hadn't put the marathon piece together with the event piece. So your question is a little more specific than that, though, about the marathon itself. So,
well, I mean, feel free to tell the story however you want, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple pieces, right? One is the crafting the event, which is definitely like something I basically put my entire life's work on the line as far as building Runehammer to enable some of that stuff. So that's kind of one other big kind of piece. But the marathon itself is a more interesting and tighter piece, which it really is. It could take many forms, but it asks the question of how can you remove as many, pullaways from playing as possible?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And that's kind of it. Yeah. Now, if it's limited, if you can get one long day or whatever, all right, great. Or if you need to step out and you need to barbecue for the homies because maybe you're doing a marathon in a cabin or something like that, like a getaway, which is also cool. But I think the journey for finding it, when it really sticks and drills into the deeper parts of the brain, as you allude to, I think is the more and more you can remove anything that isn't just sitting there and being in it. Yeah. And this, I wouldn't even say this is for some kind of cool, elusive goal, like it's immersive or you get deeper into your character or I don't know, any kind of esoterica. I don't think even that's what it is. I think it's just much more basic aspects of human thought, which is being tired is a big part of it. Being a little bit shocked that you're still kind of there, that you haven't had to go look at your texts or check Instagram or go to the grocery store or do this, that, or the other thing, because nowadays we have so many different little threads that we're pulling on every day. So sometimes just doing anything for 12 hours straight.
Yeah, literally anything.
Anything. Yeah, much less role playing and playing D&D in the dark.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level. So I think that's the journey. Marathon is a word that maybe is a little less misleading, and it shouldn't lock people out because it feels like length. It's not really about the length. Now, if you can get length,
totally,
by all means, push it until you can't push it anymore. But even if you can do something that slightly expands your envelope, you're going to get some of these kind of feelings. Yeah. And honestly, as you well know, I think it's hard to give accurate reporting about it because it kind of sounds like exaggeration.
Yeah.
When you talk about a marathon, it can sound very exaggerated or hyperbole about how intense it can be.
Yeah.
And so I try to actually not tell a lot of stories about what happens. So if we, the one we just finished 2 days ago, I think I racked it up, but we clocked about 27 hours at the table. That's uninterrupted table time in about 2.5 days ish.
That's a long time. Yeah. Ours
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Ours was 18, 19, I think, so you're talking 10 hours less. And that still felt like a lot. So that's incredible.
Our longest one in the most recent Amber Die Marathon at the end of summer was, I think, 37 hours in 4 days.
Wow.
So with one spike kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
But It isn't necessarily, I think for the Amber Die, it really is about racking up hours.
Yeah.
That's really part of the team mindset that they have. But for me, it's less about that, and it's more about taking a break from all the stuff and just sort of doing it, and like kind of blocking out time for yourself. And it could
Yeah.
be fishing, honestly. It could be absolutely anything. And
Yeah.
I get you. I think you'll get some of the same experiences. It isn't that like role playing for an extra length of time is like, crazy, like Mazes
Yeah.
and Monsters cult experience. It's not
Yeah.
like that. It's still just hanging out with your friends, but
Totally.
it's just a treat. You're treating yourself to time. And
Yeah.
I think that's where it's really has its magic. Not that you can tell a better story, or any given encounter is going to be cooler. And I would
Yeah.
even argue that sometimes the fatigue aspect can actually take away from how cool something may have been, because your GM might be just weary, or you might be tactic tired, which is really real during marathons.
Yep.
Sometimes too much tactical play can make it feel like, okay, guys, let's do some damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And then, oh, it's damaging us. Let's heal, like.
And back and forth, and then it's hours of like one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah.
another one right after it.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
in a normal rhythm, you would have like a week off between these battles. But in the marathon, you have 10 minutes to talk, and then another battle pops up, and it can be fatiguing. So it isn't necessarily about like, this is the best experience you can ever have. It's not necessarily about that, I don't think. I think the marathon is just giving yourself some time to enjoy and blocking that time out.
Yeah, I think when I like processing the couple that I've been to, obviously in Philly, and then the one that we just did, what I really came away with was like the two factors are like dedicated retreat. And so, like, not necessarily a retreat physically, but like this event is for a purpose. You hear a lot about like tables where people are distracted and on their phones. I feel like everything we do, not just hobbies nowadays in the modern age, like we are doing something while doing something else all the time, right?
Yes.
And so I remember even like the first Outriders, like people are excited and we're planning all of these like adjacent things that we want to do. And then you like had to always like a couple of times be like, okay, remember, like this is the lane that we're in for this. And like we're doing one thing, and then if those things happen extra, whatever, great. But like and so that's probably the two things that I came down with, like why these things are so special is like you're talking about, do the one thing and do it for time, right? Exponential time. And I feel like any hobby you do, I love fishing. Like if I get to go out and just do like brook trout fishing for like 8 hours on a weekend by myself, that would be incredible,
So good.
right?
So
and
good.
and so any hobby is like that. And so for me, I feel like this kind of experience for the tabletop hobby, in my opinion, this is like the pinnacle of what it can be, all things being equal. Like you could still have a bad group, you could still have a whatever, but
sure, yeah,
right. But if you take your core group and then you find a way to get away intentionally, that dedicated retreat, like in my opinion, it seems to be like, no, this is definitely, I can't do this all the time. That doesn't work with normal life, but like at least a once or twice a year thing, because of just how amazing it can be, when you put that dedication into time away.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
awesome.
And I mean, I feel like it's kind of one of the highest sort of points you can hit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's necessarily like an ideal that should be chased too much, because I can say that from the organizer standpoint, or the ambitious kind of event conceptor point of view, it's really not even worth pursuing, because you're really looking at one group of people.
Yeah.
And at the absolute most, it should be 7 or maybe 8 people. 8 is pushing the envelope.
Yeah. Yeah. I think ours was 2 GMs and then 8 players, like the last one we did. And like I'll do bigger tables normally just to be inclusive for people. But for that kind of thing, having no more than 4 players at a table was really good. I just, because that was
even
a lot,
even that is 2 tables now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and that's not no.
yeah.
I definitely realize, like, I think what I would encourage people to do, like, if they want to try this, just let's say they're your core group, you've got a GM, 3 to 5 players, like, you should definitely go try this once, you know.
Yeah.
And then bigger than that, like, we bit off more than we could chew with this one in our home group, but we've just got all these adjacent people that want to be involved.
Totally.
But I will say that 10x the amount of, like, prep and thought, and now it's 2 GMs, which you and I did before too, and it's like, you know, the same situation happens, and the way you think it impacts the story will be different than me, just our creativity is different.
Yeah.
And then we got to kind of marry those somehow. And so, like, I learned a lot from that experience, you know, last year, and then this one, it was like, it's a lot. So, but if you bring that way down to, like, the average D&D group, like, you know, I guess in a video that I'm going to be talking about this, just like our recap, I said, if you can plan a session, you can plan a marathon, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it, and it's just a little bit of extra threads, knowing there's time. You'll have more time than normal.
Yeah. And that is a bit of a different category of discussion, is like executing it. I still want to say a little bit of a note about
please.
the reason that I keep shaving this down and down to basically one group. Like our Crown and Skull marathon that we just finished was 5 players.
Awesome.
And there are reasons, though, to shave it down, and I really don't think that event organizers in general find any of it interesting. And these reasons being, I want to get it where the people that come have the same experience. And I found that even when we did our 2 table system that we did, half of them didn't know what the other half had done.
Yeah.
And it was lost in the soup. And so I was forced to face the reality that, like, if I really want to do this the way I want to do this, it can only be 1 table. With 1 GM that just holds it. And, you know, Adam and the Ember Die also helped to show me that. So there's that limitation. And then there's the other one of, like, I'm not sure how to put this in a sort of a happy feel-good way, but in many ways, the distractions of a role-playing sort of event are where the revenue is.
Yeah.
The distractions are the shopping and the food and the lodging and all this stuff. And if you strip all this away, at least if you're a person of conscience, you cannot charge a player like a few $1,000s to come and just play a little weekend marathon where you're not offering a lot besides the play. Now, if you're offering lodging and you're offering a vending mall and all this kind of crazy stuff, like at a con, obviously all this stuff goes up. But I can't in conscience charge more than my normal, like, session costs at the shop. And so it winds up being super affordable for the player. But for the host, it is so much work relative to that cost. I don't think there's a lot of sort of people in my position who are going to be interested in doing this. Now, if you're doing it as just on the pure hobby joy level, then you don't have to worry about that any stuff. But I do think that some of these aspects will keep it a very small thing that is done. I don't think there's some kind of moment where this kind of blows up. You know, and anybody who's been at cons and has gamed, or even gotten like the Airbnb for the weekend, the Air D&D as people call it, and play. If you've done that, you know that almost always everyone has a different idea they're bringing to the table. There are 3 or 4, maybe 5 GMs, or, like in the case of a con, hundreds of them. You're kind of moving from place to place. You need to get yourself fed. You need to do all this stuff. And I got to be a little bit critical. I really think that if you go to Gen Con for 3 days, you spend more than half the time shuffling your stuff around and running around and meeting people and doing. So when we do what we're doing, I mean, we just order in. I mean, we don't even budge when it's time to eat. It's just, you're either here and we're at it, or you're home and you're asleep. And I'm not saying that this is what people should do or this is the ultimate way. It's just a description of what I've been doing, which I haven't been very vocal about.
Well, I think like I think what you bring up is important. Like my lens on marathon gaming has nothing to do with like making money. Right. I know that it looks like an opportunity that would be good for that for some people. My lens is like I love RPGs so much. I want the best experience for me and the people I play with.
Right.
And then especially anybody that I'm introducing new to the hobby, like I want to just give them everything that I know is cool, right? But so I think you bring up a good point is like this as a business model, I like that's no way. It just
it's not
the
great.
amount of not the lens, but you and your core group wanting to do something special and you're okay dividing up the cost of a Verbo or an Airbnb, like absolutely go do that. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, and even then,
Yeah.
if you do that, it still takes a lot of intentionality to not just let it sort of be like a vacation.
Yeah.
It really takes a lot of like stick to itiveness. And if you
Yes.
even have one player who's kind of just going for the weekend to cut loose,
Yes. Yeah.
it will be very hard to hold the amoeba together. And this is one area where, sort of doing it professionally or whether, like my problem is that I'm somewhere between, right? I am professional, but I'm also just kind of a total enthusiast who just wants to do it. This is why I am a businessman of dubious acumen.
Yeah.
But with a professional environment, like here, it's the only thing to do. I mean, I don't even have a couch. So it's like when you come in the door, you come in the octagon and we shut out the world and we're just like in here. We have the food scheduled ahead of time.
Yep.
So you don't even think about that, which, some new changes we've made since you were in Philly last.
Yeah.
So it's just truly like, okay, it's our break. Go have some grub for half an hour. We'll come back. We count that as a session break. So we always have to remind each other. In normal life, a week would have just passed.
Totally. Yeah.
But 30 minutes passed. So if you feel like your character's growing kind of quickly, remember by now we would have been playing for a month.
Oh yeah, this would have.
Like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's a good point. Is like the comparison between like these marathon events and your normal session. So I did like my YouTube channel is pretty small, right? And so I put a post out and had people vote on it. How many hours do you play a month? And it generally floats. That was only 30 people that responded, so that's not indicative of everybody, but 4 to 10 hours. But in a marathon, you're hitting that like before dinner day one.
That's first day. Yeah.
Right. And so like, and now just as an example, my normal structure is 2 to 2.5 hours weekly. That's the only thing that really works for my home group. Right. And so half that time is just hitting the flow state, getting back into it. And then you're also forgetting things that in a marathon setting you would remember because it happened an hour ago.
It happened 10 minutes ago.
Right. And so I think
crazy.
So that exponential time with no gaps in between, like I was just really impressed because a lot of the people that went on our marathon with Daggerheart that we just did have never done anything like this before. And I introduced all of them to the hobby in general, like within the last couple of years. And the like hitting that flow state where like, okay, people are in character, they get the story, they're making decisions based on the story. That happened in the first hour of gameplay, and then we got to stay in it for 2 days instead of leave it, come back next month, take 2 hours to get back into the story and pick it up. And so I think that was the other thing that I saw is just like, wow, also players, I was just super impressed is like they stayed in it the whole time, and especially for people that are fairly new to the hobby to see that was really cool.
Yeah. And that's where you get into the more fun kind of soft aspect of this whole thing that we're striving to do, right? So if you set aside all this practicality and all this journeying and kind of facility thinking, there's a lot of parts and pieces to get that moment to happen. But if you want to talk about the good stuff, I mean, the build toward from Thursday afternoon to late Saturday night, at least with the rhythm that I do.
Mm-hmm.
By the time that Saturday night, at 8 p.m. or so comes around, the intensity of a good story-driven kind of sandboxy kind of world and it coming to a head, and the intensity of it is so sick. And even if you have some chemistry hesitations in players, which you will, not everybody is best friends with everyone else. And so sometimes that chemistry can be very slow. It can take a couple of days even. But once that chemistry hits and that crescendo is coming and you're pushing them into that dilemma or that final twist, oh my goodness, it's absolutely the stuff of legend. So much so that it's hard to even report it afterwards. It's hard to even tell people that was so crazy. And then you kind of start sounding like an exaggerated, saying that your games are so fun and saying, oh, that was so great, which is a trend that I really kind of don't like. It kind of spins me out a little bit. So I try not to do it, but deep down you're like, oh my God, that was so sick.
Yeah. And then how do you tell, like, if you're at the table for 25 hours, how the heck do you communicate that to people that ask about it? Like when I got back to work after this and like coworkers asking me, how was the weekend? And I'm like still coming down from it. And I'm like, it was great. That's all I can really, it was great. I had a ton of fun. If you want to see some photos, I'll show you, but like, I can't condense, a trilogy of like novels in a conversation.
And there was a time, not long ago where you would do stuff that was highly involved and you would just tell friends and coworkers, I had a great time. What's up? That was it. The idea that you have to document, prove, and report upon all the cool things that you do is extremely recent. And not doing that is totally fine. You don't, and even me who like lives on this stuff, literally, this is my only work that I do. I even don't really like do big reports or big lore dumps from the things to kind of prove sort of in quotes to the audience, like, I don't know, like industrialize it or something. I don't even do that because I just find that takes away some of the private magic that we shared, and it's kind of lightning in a bottle, and when it's over it's kind of gone. And it's only shared by the people who were there.
It's so special, like the moments, waiting on one person's die roll because that's the one that makes the difference of life or death. And like you can't replicate that, in a blog post or a YouTube video or whatever. You can't replicate the emotion that everybody felt leading up to that. And so awesome.
And so I think that in some ways that's a sign of something that you really are being enriched by. And I think a thing that can be documented, especially if it's being documented in real time, I think that everybody should take a little bit of a critical look at that. And I know that there's entertainment to be had in it, but I really do think it's taken something from us in just our enjoying of private things, that even when they're done, they remain private. Not because it's weird and there's something to hide, but because that's just where it lives. I really think that is a sign you might be onto something. Whereas if it's something you can use or something you can post or whatever, then it might still be great. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be at a more of a veneer kind of level of experience. It's like a lot like, camping can be like that too. Like if you really go camping for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, you're out in the bush with your backpack. On like the second day, you get tired of like taking selfies and taking pictures of the landscape. You just start like backpacking. You're just walking because your backpack weighs too much and you're kind of like tired. Then you're in it.
Now we're really backpacking. We're not doing something else while we happen to be backpacking. Right.
I think, as you mentioned, with flow state access and all that kind of stuff, it's a real factor with this form of the hobby. It is intense, by the way, especially if the GM. So enter with care, ye who may dare this. You're going to need all your energy. You can't let this thing drag, because if anything drags and people are already innately fatigued, it'll be a drag the likes of which you've never seen.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's as far as like if you were gonna do this yourself, like prepare well, not just like the game, but prepare your mind and
Yep.
eat your bananas.
Yeah, and how you eat and how you
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
caffeinate or whatever. And if you need a beer to be
yeah,
a little bit loose, make sure that it's kind of there.
yeah,
Be careful with that because you can also like descend a little too
yep,
early in your energy if you have like beers in the afternoon or
yeah,
whatever. But all these little things will kind of become factors
yeah,
because you're trying to kind of do this sort of pro athlete kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
level. And then that doesn't even answer, I guess, which would be maybe one of the final and crazy unspoken pieces is really how you prepare one of these
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
it's really not a module.
No,
It's not quite a sandbox because you do need it to crescendo. It
yes,
needs to hit a razor's edge by the
yeah,
sort of one of the, not the end, but near the end, because the end should always be the after tail.
yes,
But near the end, you are going to need some kind of impassable eye of the needle,
yeah,
which is highly intense. And coming to that point organically can, I think, I mean, it challenges every single skill that I have. And
yeah,
I've been doing this for ages. Not that how long you do a thing determines your skill, but I don't know. I get by.
yeah,
But it is deeply challenging to really create something compelling that's
yeah,
not rushed.
yeah,
It's very patient in those first few days, but
hmm,
then needs to come to that
yeah,
point, that one moment or decision, and then have a nice afterflow to it. So one thing that is not very widely known with my marathons is that on Sunday we gather at noon and we gather off site with no dice and no game. And all we do is just afterglow talk about it.
yeah,
And we don't leave that to chance. I don't figure, oh yeah, well the people who are coming for the event are probably getting together at a bar or something afterwards. I don't leave that to chance. It's part of the schedule
that's good. Yeah,
to sit down and like commiserate
yeah,
and tie up the loose ends of like, well, what about that dude that we left in that village? Like that dude was shady,
yeah, yeah,
and we need to talk about who that dude is
yeah,
and we need to tie that thread up. And even
yeah,
that is a little bit part of your prep. Like you need a story that has enough guts where there is an afterglow to it. It isn't just
yeah,
kind of like all done. It needs that
yeah,
kind of like, wait, that was crazy. I only really realized it this morning.
yeah. I
How
think that
crazy it is that Musashi killed himself to try to kill the demon that was inside of him, but all he did was release it, and that was like at 10 p.m. last night. That was crazy.
yeah. Yeah, like I think what you're talking about is really important is like because these events can be very intense and long and just the amount of story that develops so quick, like that afterglow portion is just so special. I think that's probably the only way to even describe it. Like
Right.
our last one, the one that we just finished, ours looked a little different than that, but what we did is like, okay, sessions end, me and the other GM went away for like 20-30 minutes to create the epilogue based on like kind of what happened, and then we narrate the epilogue with some conversation with some of their characters, and then after that, all right guys, like what was your favorite moments from like each character throughout this weekend? We just did it in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And but that took 45 minutes to get through that just because people are remembering all the cool moments that happened, and that was just a really special
Oh my
time,
God. We went on for like 4 hours on Sunday.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
just went on and then started going into speculation,
yeah,
especially with the Daggerheart campaign. We almost did all of Sunday was like speculation. So it was,
yeah,
okay, what if it went to the next sort of chapter? And
mm,
what would it be? And how would our players be in the past? And like, then you
mhm.
just start going down these insane rabbit holes because it's like sun's out, feel great. You just
Oh yeah,
finished the marathon, like you're
yeah,
chilling.
yeah, yeah. And then that the story can continue to develop, and that's the thing is then people don't want to the in a normal session structure, it's so easy for people to get kicked out of the story. One text message that buzzes on the table, and people can like jump out of that
Yeah.
state. But then you have an event like this, and people are just still going and talking about it for like a week or two before they come down, just because of how impactful that special spot can be,
Yeah, I had a player, John, who was in both. He was in the Daggerheart and in the Crown and Skull events.
Oh, wow.
And he was like in a withdrawal state between the two.
Yeah, have you checked on him? Like, make sure he's okay. Oh, because that's crazy.
But yeah, because it's not only, and this comes back to a little bit my opening kind of concept. Not only is it like, man, that was like some deep ass D&D, holy moly, but for so many people, they got kids and extended family and stressful jobs and errands they got to run, and to just take 2-3 days off completely from that is a little bit unheard of.
Yeah.
Like my friend Jerry, like he hadn't done that for years and years, so he was just like, he was just on cloud 9 the whole time. Like, I'm waking up and just like taking a walk. It's insane.
Yeah, and I'm alone. What? Yeah. We had to drop our kids off for this one with my parents, and then it felt weird. It's like there's nobody in the back seat yelling at me right now.
Totally. I'm just like driving right now. This is nuts.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I guess for like one last, like if you were to, if somebody came to you and was saying like, I want to just try my own marathon with my own home group, any words of advice, words of wisdom, any warnings, just any last minute hurrah?
Well, I'm going to assume that if you're doing this, your players are cool and that you're a pretty good GM and you're ready for the sort of the tactical skill that is involved. But I would say the number one tip I could give is, and you mentioned it a little bit, is to constantly find ways, and they are myriad, so they're hard to even list, to refocus the reason that you're getting together again and again. It can't just be like drinking or barbecuing or watching movies or taking breaks or shuffling from one location to another or changing out the GM and the idea and radically shifting things. All these things are fun. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Every single thing I just listed, I love.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of this, it really does take at least one person constantly and actively saying, we're not here for other things.
Yeah.
And every side conversation, by the way, is always almost totally awesome and interesting. It's not about that. It's just being purpose driven. And I can say it's easy for me to say that to you right now.
Yeah.
But it has been years now that I've been struggling to get it to pop, on different, and we've done all kinds of different forms of this. We've done the Runehammer type. We've done the giant Airbnb. We've done the remote Airbnb to try to sort of block out the world. We've done the small hotel.
Yeah. And that trial and error over time.
It's never easy. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, we tried it and so we got it.
Yeah.
And so I'm probably on the 4th year now of trying to really get it nailed. Mm-hmm. And there's even plenty of little improvements we can make here.
Yeah.
And
it'll keep going like that.
And it'll keep going because I really do think it is really cool. And I know a lot of people are a little disoriented by how I say that I don't like conventions. And I'm sorry, I just kind of don't. I really don't.
I like to shop as much as the next person, but I get it. And not for gaming. If it's about showing up to find a cool mini and some dice to buy, sure, I'll go.
Yeah, looking at dice.
But but as far as like looking at that, like it's really good gaming.
And it's just where my efforts go are this style, and I think great sessions happen at cons.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
No shade. It just isn't my thing. And I know I'm like supposed to like, as part of the sort of industrial aspect of what I do, I know it's still odd to many people that I just don't want to go.
Yeah.
But it's because my energy is this. Like building this is the same expense as going to 50 conventions. Like this was no small feat to achieve and no small amount of risk.
Yeah.
So now I don't really want to leave. I want to be in the clubhouse that I built with my blood and my sweat. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I hope that message can like reach people that are wondering where the hell Hankerin went.
Well, I mean, there's nothing cooler than pulling that book on the bookshelf and opening that door to the Octagon. So there's nothing cooler than that. So awesome stuff.
We like our little sensory deprivation chamber.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just want to end this by saying thank you for your time. Obviously, huge inspiration. And for people, if you're in Philly, go to the Runehammer store. What are you doing? Like, it's the coolest place to be.
Come on over here.
Also, runehammer.online, and check out the shop there. So much cool stuff.
Please do.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for your time, man. And we will see you soon.
See you, man.